What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So, a bit of Chargers news now that free agency has officially started as far as where trades and signing these free agents are made official today. But they did agree in terms to one of their own free agents in Perryman, the linebacker. He was injured most of the year last year, but especially his last 2 years, he ended up getting injured, but he did play very well. So I'm pretty sure that's why they re-signed him to at least a 2-year deal, which is pretty good because then you still get him for at least the next 2 years, but then you don't have to overpay him as well. So luckily he gave us the hometown discount. That's what it looks like. And they did also get a veteran linebacker in Thomas Davis, who has spent his whole entire career with the Carolina Panthers right next to Luke Kuechly, but he did decide that he still wanted to play, and he was actually pretty good last year, even for his age. Like, I think he's like around 34, but he did sign a 2-year deal as well. So it's just pretty obvious that these are the type of deals that the Chargers look for. They don't like to overspend or even be locked into these guys for a certain number of years, especially by their age or injury history. So it's okay, but I still think they need to go after another linebacker in the draft, which I'm pretty sure they will, because they still have their own free agent in Kyle Emmanuel, who is a linebacker, but I don't think he's going to be good enough, and you can just get a better replacement in the draft. But then they also did agree to terms to finally a pretty good backup quarterback in Tyrod Taylor, who did try to get the starting job in Cleveland last year before they gave it to Baker Mayfield. So at least they got somewhat of a good presence behind Phillip Rivers in case something happens or in case Rivers just drops off completely. But I still don't think Tyrod Taylor is a good replacement even when Rivers does leave, even after those 2 years. So I think they still should look in the draft for another guy, but that's just my opinion. And they also placed like some type of tender on Trevor Williams, the cornerback, where I guess if a team decides to sign him as a free agent right now, then they'd have to give up like a 6th or 7th round pick as well to do it. And so far no one has bid, so he might end up coming back to the Chargers on a pretty good deal, which is always good to see. And I believe the wide receiver Tyrell Williams, he did commit to sign with the Oakland Raiders, so good luck to him. We'll definitely be seeing him at least 2 times in a year, so good luck to him. Got to get that money. But yeah, pretty interesting free agency offseason so far. A little bit of Duke news, at least finally going their way a little bit. Zion Williamson will return in the ACC tournament that starts Thursday, I believe. So they'll find out who they're going to play, I think, after tonight. Then also, as far as injury news for them, Marquise Bolden, their other center, is out for at least a tournament so far. He might return back for the main one after this ACC tournament, but we'll see. It's going to suck if he doesn't. You just need an extra body out there at times, especially in the big tournament. Then also Zion Williamson did win Rookie of the Year and Player of the Year in the ACC, so it's pretty crazy. Obviously, a few other Duke guys that did it recently, Jahlil Okafor and Marvin Bagley III last year, so he's in some good company there. But it's kind of surprising, in my opinion, that they did give him that award and some other type of sportsman Player of the Year award as well, when he missed quite a bit of time so far and quite a bit of games, especially in the ACC, when RJ Barrett has been there the entire time, still healthy and putting up numbers as he has. He is the most scoring freshman in Duke history, and I think he even reached another milestone when it was like the most points by a freshman in ACC history. If he's not there, he's probably pretty close, so I think it probably should have went to him in my opinion. But Zion did change the game, did change college basketball for the time he was playing and made it a lot more interesting. So just glad I have him back tomorrow. I guess I'll see that a little bit later. Then USC basketball news, Beanie Boatwright, the power forward from USC, he did get first team all Pac-12. So congrats to him. Nick Rakusevic, who's also a starting power forward / center for USC, did get an audible mention. I think he should have at least made the second team in my opinion, because he was doing pretty good for the beginning half of the season, but he did kind of tail off there towards the end, so I can understand why, I guess. And then they are starting their Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas today. And as I saw right before I made this video, I was kind of waiting a little bit, but to see if they were going to beat Arizona, because they had them in the first round, and Arizona historically is the better team in that conference other than UCLA, but both are having down years, and looks like USC was almost up by 20 with like 3 minutes to go, so I felt it was safe to at least make this and say that they won. But I'll definitely update on the next video, whenever that may be, the next certain number of days, seeing how far they went in the tournament. Same thing for Duke as well. So yeah, let's keep on going.
Misfires. James gets inside, and a nice finish there for his second field goal. Well, James goes back door and finishes.
The Lakers didn't trade him.
By the way, do we know on it? And Brad Stevens quickly calls timeout.
As Williams on a beautiful feed by
Pass to James, throws it down. Good setup from Williams. You just gotta love.
Yeah, he's waiting on his spin and throw it down. LBJ.
Well, again, Selden giving up such size was leaning on him so much. LeBron feels all that pressure, knows that all he has to do is spin. He has the advantage.
Just clicked over 20 a second ago. That's a turnover. Ahead of the pack is LeBron. Here he goes. Look out!
Oh, did he put on a show with that one? Wow.
That's what they came to see.
That's what I came to see.
Me too. 64 all over the Lakers. Doubled them up in the first quarter. Hello! LeBron with authority.
Let's see now, Robin Lopez had switched on to LeBron, and there's no way. But where was the help? He just opened the gate and let him go down the lane for a dunk.
Oh, taken away by the Lakers. Here's Josh Hart off the board. LeBron.
Oh, showtime. That was nice. What a quarter LeBron James is having. First, he's lining up people for triples, and then he sizes them up for dunks, and then if that's not good enough, he gets in the open court and does this.
So yes, Lakers, as far as win-wise, they barely got a win yesterday against Chicago. Sorry for all my Chicago family, but yes, Lakers finally got a win. You saw a few of those highlights, and then highlights from the other game over the weekend against Boston. Another game that they probably should have won, but just too many injuries, and we'll get into that right now because Brandon Ingram suffered through a DVT, which they found out was in his shoulder that had been bothering him when they thought it was just a regular injury, but turned out that it's kind of similar to what Chris Bosh, another NBA player, had, and obviously now he's not playing in the league anymore, but it's because you kind of get blood clots in the area where you got injured, and it can travel to many places, and sadly it can travel to the heart or to the lungs and be very fatal. But he also has to be on some type of medicine now where they're going to try to make sure it goes away, and if it doesn't, then they'll probably have to do something a little bit more serious to help him out. And it just kind of sucks for a very young player, especially even in the sense-wise when you look at it, as far as Lakers spending a high draft pick on him, and sadly he's not going to be able to even finish out his rookie contract maybe, just because, especially if these things end up happening again, then he'll have to be on a certain type of medication, and when you're on that, you're not able to play. So it's going to suck to lose a pretty big piece, part of their future, whether it was keeping him and developing him or trading him out next year to try to get somebody. But definitely sucks for him. Hopefully he does get better, and it's nothing too serious, but you just never know. I'm just glad they're taking their time to look at it. Then also Lonzo Ball was ruled that he's going to miss the rest of the year with his ankle. I don't know why. I saw him practicing, getting up jumpers, looking all right, and then there's still about 15 or so ball games left in the season. Could definitely get a run to see what you got, but of course he doesn't want to come back. Don't know why. And they said there were gonna be minutes restrictions and playing time restriction for LeBron, especially like on a back-to-back. They probably weren't gonna play him either as much or even at all. And you kind of understand why, just because of how long he's been playing, been to 8 straight finals. And I just think if he rides out the rest of this year, whether the Lakers win or lose, then he's still gonna get almost 2.5 to 3 months of just being able to rest and not be in the playoffs anyways. And he doesn't seem like he's going all that hard to re-injure himself, so I think it's fine if he still plays. Just be on that minutes restriction, please. That would be nice. And then Jeff Van Gundy during that Celtics game did mention or put out the theory if they should trade LeBron to see what they could get for him. Obviously, the earlier you can trade him, the more you'll get back, but who knows if there's a no trade clause in his contract. I'm pretty sure there is, and just pretty crazy that you wasted all this time to finally get one of the better players in the NBA and in NBA history, and then you're gonna just trade him after a year or two. It's just too insane to think about, really. And then also they did have pick up Andre Ingram, who was a pretty good spot last year towards the end of the season where he came in and got into play like 1 or 2 games. He's like a 33-year-old player who's been in the developmental league for so long, never really had a chance, but last year they did allow him to play in one of the main games, and the last game against Chicago, he did get an opportunity to play in there. He's on a 10-day contract, so we'll see if they sign him for the rest of the year. Be pretty cool. I think they probably will because of how many injuries they have, but be pretty cool to see. It's definitely congratulations to him for putting in the effort and still sticking with it. And a quick thing I forgot about the Lakers, that it came out somehow randomly that the Lakers coaches, especially Luke Walton and a lot of the assistants, were fleeing and trying to get Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka, the main guys, the basketball operations for the Lakers, to keep both Brook Lopez and Julius Randle, who were on the team last year, but were on one-year contracts, and they are actually doing pretty good this year. And it's kind of like, well, if we still had those guys, we might be a little bit more in contention right now, at least for the playoffs. But it just kind of weird that they didn't listen to them at all, and they got the certain guys that they did, and it's obviously being pushed in their face right now as a bad thing. And everybody's looking to see if they want to get rid of even Magic Johnson as well, or even the GM Rob Pelinka. I think you got to start there first, just because he was never a general manager before. He's just a sports agent, and famously Kobe's sports agent. So I don't know, you might have to start there. I think you still give Magic Johnson an opportunity. I just don't want them to let LeBron choose whatever coach he wants, because then Tyronn Lue will be there, and that's just a whole bag of bad right there, in my opinion. Alright. Before I get into the stupid crap USC is dealing with the FBI, once again, I want to say this about USC football at least. So Greg Johnson did practice the other week, so it does look like he's out of the transfer portal and back with USC at least for this season. So that's good. At least we got some depth back at that cornerback position. Then USC so far right now, after a few weeks of the spring practice, is ranked number 48 in the country out of like 120 something schools. So obviously if they're planning to have the season they're going to, and with the amount of wins, they definitely should be a top 15 team in my opinion. I don't really expect them to go undefeated, but that's just me. And yeah, I don't know. I'll get to that stupid USC crap. But then also they mentioned that JT Daniels, the quarterback for USC, has the 13th best chance or odds to win the Heisman Trophy, which is really cool out of all the people that are playing college football next year. But there was another story that came out saying, well, it's it is his job to lose because they do have a new offensive coordinator in Graham Harrell, and he's just looking at all the quarterbacks to see what is the best option for USC and who is making the better reads. And it is a simple offense, so and it is something that JT Daniels did run in high school, so he should be basically at the top of the depth chart in my opinion. And if he is, he definitely should be in consideration for the Heisman with the amount of athletes that USC does have and how they're showing to be pretty good in camp so far from what I saw and hear. So hopefully that's something that could spark USC past these allegations and being indicted right now by the FBI, because apparently I know it was like 3 coaches or something like that, 3 people in the athletic community, and she's like one of the top 3 people in the athletic program, and she's under Lynn Swan, who's the main program director, and then there's like another guy who's a CFO, and then she's like the 3rd top ranked person. And she was running this thing where these kids, especially these very rich kids, I guess now we get the main reason why USC is acronym for University of Spoiled Children, but a lot of these main actors or even very rich people got their kids into school because this lady and a lot of these coaches who recently got fired too were helping these people, these kids pretend like they were actually athletes, which they weren't even. They never had a bit of athleticism or even did anything like that, but they came up with like fake pictures, fake documents saying that, oh yeah, this kid, we want him to come to USC. They will be a walk-on, as they call it, where the school isn't going to provide a scholarship, but as long as the parents are willing to pay for the kid to go there and all that, then they would be able to. But somehow they got a discount where they would just pay these coaches and that administrator, and their kids were able to go to USC. And I'm pretty sure it's basically up to the kids to be able to keep up with those academic standards, which are pretty tough at USC. And yeah, and it backfired. And of course, the FBI just says they stumbled upon this by accident. It wasn't something they were looking for. But of course, USC is one of the main schools, along with like Georgetown. I think Texas is involved, and a couple other pretty big name schools. But yes, I'm just kind of glad it wasn't the main program director or athletic director, as they call him, Lynn Swan, but it did involve somebody where they did fake that he was a football walk-on, and from what I saw, in order to get an okay to be a football walk-on, you have to get okay from the head coach or something like that, unless this chick who was 3rd highest in there was like pretty sneaky at that, because obviously Coach Helton hasn't said anything or even knew anything about it. So it's definitely going to be a very interesting time for USC. This is definitely a black mark, red mark, a bad stain on their program. At least football wasn't involved this time that we know of, but it was just a lot of these famous actors spoiling their kids when they could have just sent them anywhere else just because they wanted to go to school with some of their old classmates or teammates, whatever. But it does suck. I hope the USC football program doesn't get any sanctions like they did the last time, but luckily they aren't fully involved from what I saw and can hear the past 2 days. It is very embarrassing, but hopefully this season they can prove to get over that and have a good enough record to where we can put this all freaking behind us now. So yes, a little bit of Anaheim Ducks news. So they beat up on Montreal 8-2, which is very surprising since how much they've sucked so far this year. Then they also got a pretty good win yesterday against Nashville. Pretty late win. I think it was like 3-2. So that's at least okay. At least they're somewhat improving, especially on defense. And then they also did sign Simeon Benoit, I believe that's what his name is, to a 3-year entry-level deal. So he looks like he's going to be just in a developmental league. Nothing like too crazy, but at least somebody to look at in the future. Then also a little bit of news that I kind of like as far as stuff I've been waiting for from Tom DeLonge. who's the singer and guitarist, Blink-182 and Angels in the Airwaves, a couple bands I like. But finally, some news about his UFO findings and strange stuff that he's been doing for so long, which is the reason why he left Blink-182 in the first place. But looks like A&E Originals, the company, is gonna do like a 6-part documentary series, something that he filmed with one of the guys that they're calling the White House whistleblower, with who he left the White House to come and work with Tom DeLonge at To the Stars Academy. And it's gonna basically follow through some UFO unidentified things from the past, but then also they're gonna go on adventures about stuff that nobody has ever looked at before and discover new things. So it should be very interesting to see how even long each episode is probably going to be, since it is only a 6-part type of series that they're doing. And as far as A&E Originals, I know A&E is a company, like a channel, but I don't know what original it's like really is, if it's just like an online thing where you have to stream it as well. But at least it's something. At least we're going to get somewhat good information of what the heck he's been working on the past 2 or 3 years, and hopefully this can lead to music and touring and all this stuff instead of him just worried about all this crap. I'd rather just listen to new music, in my opinion. But thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. And yes, USC did get like a 10 or 11 point victory against Arizona, which is surprising to me, but at least they advanced for one more day in the tournament. We'll find out who they play, I guess, tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure I'll update a video about that sometime later in a couple days or so. But like I said, thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.